Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Melanie and I am super jazzed to be here as always. Today I am joining you from my lovely little cottage in a silk robe to chit-chat with you about 10 journal prompts and contemplations to help deepen a sense of compassion for yourself. We have been diving deep and frolicking, reveling, and enjoying the self-love September practices this month, and this is the second Wednesday that we're getting into some journal prompts. Last week's contemplation video dove pretty deep into the art of contemplation. We talked a bit about Richard Rudd's book. I will link to that video in the cards above, so you can go and check that out if you would like, because I don't want to repeat it all here. These glasses make me feel slightly like a grandma, but that is glorious and okay with me. We're talking about deepening compassion for ourselves. When we are journaling, whether you're following these prompts or not, it is never helpful to judge and criticize the emotions and the thoughts that come up out of those contemplative moments. When you create a journaling space, I really encourage you to try and drop the self-criticism. And I know that might be hard, especially if you're someone who overthinks, especially as someone who is maybe found this video or is partaking in Self-Love September because you're trying to create more of a soft and compassionate relationship with yourself. It's going to be a bit of a process, but criticizing and judging the emotions and the concepts and the ideas that you share or get out on your paper does nothing to ease the movement and expression of those feelings. If anything, it tends to add a new layer of shame and guilt, which is counterproductive to why you've sat down to journal and express and to move through those feelings or to dissect beliefs and patterns and negative thought forms. So I'm calling you forward to do your best to silence the inner judge, lay down the self-critic, and just get it out. Practicing self-compassion is something that I would say is essential to growing as a human and to not go insane. It involves treating ourselves with gentleness, kindness, understanding, and compassion, just like we would for a loved one or a good friend who might be going through a hard time. And of course, we all know that that is way easier said than done. But contemplation and journaling can be a really powerful tool. It allows us to get those emotions and thoughts and negative beliefs out onto paper where we can more objectively dissect them and glean little nuggets of truth and start to unpack some of the misguided beliefs and understandings we have formed over the years. It's important to remember when we're journaling that this is a safe space to express. It's private, it's intimate for a reason. This is not something that you have to show other people. If you're worried about other people finding it, burn it, baby. Get rid of it, tear it up, throw it out, do what you gotta do. Just know that it's between you and the page. When I get stuck journaling and I find myself criticizing and being hesitant or nervous or scared to write something down that I've thought or I've felt, I just remember that not writing it down doesn't mean I didn't think it and doesn't mean I didn't feel it. There's great power in owning your experience without becoming it and claiming it as a part of who you are, which is a fundamental part of this journaling practice. It allows you to realize that you just experience your feelings. You are not your feelings, and you are not your thoughts. You are this little glowy, dewy light bulb that sits on a little lily pad in the lake, observing both your feelings and your thoughts. But that is a topic for another day. It's just safe to say that you don't need to identify as your feelings or your thoughts. You can write them out and observe them, unpack them, set them free, release them, or hang on to them if you feel like they serve you. Getting into these journal prompts, let's remember that this is our opportunity to be on our own teams. It's not about finding the way we should be feeling or condemning ourselves for not doing better and criticizing and critiquing and dissecting, and it's not about that. It's about you expressing literally whatever you need to express. That includes the good, the bad, the nasty, the ugly, the dirty. And I mean, it's not even really considered a good journal session if you don't doubt your sanity at least once, so that's fine too. So let's get into 10 juicy, if I do say so myself, journal prompts that can help you deepen into a compassionate relationship with yourself, that can help you get closer to understanding where some of these negative thoughts, beliefs, and or patterns might stem from. And like I've said in my previous journaling prompt videos, these are great contemplative topics that will provide a little bit of a diving board for you. It is to be viewed as the starting point on the path. And wherever you go from this point is beautiful, perfect, divine, and is exactly what you need. So trust yourself, follow that little intuition of yours, and let's go. Write about a time you were struggling with a difficult situation. Were you kind and understanding to yourself in that situation? Or were you mean and critical and had some hardcore negative self-talk going on? What are some of the negative self-talk patterns that you find yourself engaging in a lot? And let's be honest about how those patterns might affect your sense of self-worth or your self-esteem. If you are someone who has pretty intense negative self-talk, can you think back to a time where someone spoke to you in that manner? For example, if you're always calling yourself stupid when you make a reasonable mistake, can you think back to when someone else, maybe someone important to you, someone in a position of authority, someone in your family, spoke to you that way and called you stupid? Did you internalize someone else's voice as your own inner judge, tyrant, or critic? Write about a time when you felt overwhelmed or stressed out. Did you slow down, listen to your body, your own internal cues, give yourself space, engage in any self-regulative practices? Or did you push yourself really hard, ignore your own feelings, and struggle through? Would you have the same expectations of a child trying something new as you do for yourself when you try something new? Has being cruel to yourself after you've made a mistake ever made you feel better and help you perform better in the future? What are some of the things that you really love and appreciate about yourself? And how can you remind yourself of those things when you're in a stressful situation or when you're feeling low in the future? How would you respond if a child made a mistake? Think about a time when someone you care about was going through a hard situation. How did you support them? How were you there for them? How did you help make them feel better or problem solve or simply lend a compassionate ear? Look at those practices and appreciate, first of all, how good of a friend you were, and then consider how you could show up for yourself and support yourself like you support the people you care about. Think about a time when you felt rejected or excluded by someone or a group of people. What were some of the mental rabbit holes that you went down after feeling that way? Were you compassionate with yourself, or did you engage in some pretty not nice self-talk? Maybe you wanted to get even, maybe you felt angry. Just take a look at the feelings and the rabbit holes that your mind wanted to take you down. Did it bring up any memories or past experiences from when you were younger and you felt similar feelings? Do you have any practices that work to calm you or your nervous system down when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out? If so, what are those practices? And if not, are you willing to look into building your toolkit, discovering and finding out ways to be on your own team when you're in crises? Think about a time when you were really proud of yourself. Did you take time to celebrate, or did you feel guilty for enjoying your accomplishment? What would your closest friend do if you spoke to them how you spoke to yourself when you make a mistake? I hope that some of these journal prompts are good catalysts for some contemplation and self-reflection. Self-Love September, contemplative practices and journal prompts like this have definitely led me down many rabbit holes and have given me a lot to think about. It also reminded me that there's no final destination. You never arrive. There's always more layers, more things to learn, more patterns to unpattern, and different, more effective ways to show up for yourself. When I first came to that realization, when I was on my spiritual journey, it sucked because it felt like I was working really hard to get somewhere I would never get, and then I started wondering what the point was. And it was only recently that I started to be able to look back in my life and in my journals and see the small pivots and the small changes that have provided profound rest and peace for me. It doesn't mean things aren't a struggle. It does not mean that I do not have like really dark days and bad feelings and rough times. It just means that I'm not making it worse for myself. It just means that when I have the choice and the awareness, I can give myself the benefit of the doubt. I can be a little kinder. I can be a bit more gentle. I can give myself some grace. That's been really juicy for me, and I really hope that these journal prompts and all of my other Self-Love September content can encourage you on that journey, because I think you're brilliant and we're all just doing the best that we can, and beating ourselves up and being critical and judgmental and tyrannical towards the things we should and shouldn't do and the ways we ought to be and ought not to be does nothing for us other than hurt our own feelings. As always, beautiful people, I will see you all back here very shortly with another video. May the force be with you. Bye-bye for now.